Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Dogfight 1942, the Michael Vick story. I actually don't feel good about taking credit for that joke. That was one of Josh's, or J. Smith OTI, depending on how you know him. But anyway, you could probably look at this title, figure out what the heck we've got going on. This title screen right here, we got Dogfight 1942, airplanes, map of the world. This is clearly a train simulator set on Victoria-era Venus. Pretty crazy. It's got a lot of time travel. It's basically like a dating sim combined with like a bungee jumping simulator. It's pretty weird. No, it's like an arcade style air-to-air dog fighting game, basically. So an airplane fighting game, essentially. I gotta say right off the bat, I mean, I hate to spoil the surprise, but I don't really like this game, and there's a lot of reasons for that. You're gonna see the gameplay very shortly. It's repetitive and, largely adequate. Like, the game looks fine, it plays okay, even if it is a little bit too easy and very, very arcadey, just short of having power-ups, basically. But the main reason I dislike it is the fact that this game has actually catastrophically crashed my computer 3 times. And I don't mean crash in the sense that, I had to, like, Control-Alt-Delete and then exit out of it. That happens from time to time. I don't mean crash in the Super Meat Boy sense, where sometimes it crashes to desktop and asks you to send an error report or something. I mean the kind of crash where I Control-Alt-Delete doesn't work, I have to hard reset, like hold the power button down on my computer. 3 times this has happened to me so far playing this game, and it's only this game. I'm running a pretty beefy machine here, Play Borderlands 2 on Ultra, render and record at the same time with very little or no frame rate loss. Dogfight 1942, apparently, the resources that it has, just I cannot handle them. So, this is our main menu here. It might seem like this is like a sub-menu. No, this is our main menu. We have campaign, leaderboards, help and options, and downloadable content. Well, let's go to campaign. We have single player, local co-op, and multiplayer. Or sorry, quick play. What I meant to say was, you can see that there is no multiplayer here at all. There is local multiplayer, I guess. That's part of quick play. You can like dogfight your friends. Dogfight your friends! The Michael Vick story. I promise, last time I'm gonna make that joke this time. Anyway, it's local. I'm playing this on the PC. I think it might have come out Xbox Live Arcade and PSN as well, but local co-op on the PC means absolutely nothing to me. So we're just gonna get started here. Start a single-player campaign. I've got about 4 missions in. I've heard that the campaign is only maybe 3 to 4 hours long, and that's pretty representative. This represents like 40 minutes work here. Now, Duck Hunt is the one that continually crashes my computer, so let's go with something a little bit earlier. How about All in a Day's Work? So we will load into here. We have our choice of planes. We can take either the Woodland or the Jastrgzab. Alright, let's go with the Woodland, because as you can see, the Woodland is pretty much a straight upgrade in terms of top speed and armament, so it seems like a smart idea to just go with this. Anyway, let's just load in with this, and we'll get a little bit of a cutscene here, kind of telling us what the heck's going on, and then I will explain my opinions on the gameplay as well, as it comes down. If the loading screen will ever finish here. More specifically, 1 extra plane is on the way. It's going to be relied on to shoot down, like 50 planes. Because that is war, right? One thing I do like about this game is that it does have kind of the simulation veneer of you having to actually, like, take off with your ship, which I don't need to see that. Of you actually having to, like, take off and land, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that kind of sim element really beyond that. Like, you're basically just using the right analog stick for your throttle, and then using right trigger here to shoot our guns. Now, by holding down left trigger, we enter this mode. I think they call it ace mode or targeting mode. And basically what this allows us to do is take all of the guesswork out of, normally in these dogfighting games, it's kind of neat because you have to definitely aim your targets and you got to work around with, like, 3-dimensional space, which is something unusual for, like, I'm not going to say first-person shooters don't require you to work around in 3-dimensional space, but you rarely have to leave your targets all that much, right? Whereas in this, it's kind of neat because, if I hold the aiming button, you can see what ship is aiming at me, but it also has that red crosshair, and that shows me where I actually have to shoot to do damage to the enemy. To be honest, I find this to be an oversimplification of things and makes it really easy to shoot down, 100 planes. Well, we probably won't get 100 planes on this level. We might get a dozen, but still. It makes it just a little bit too easy for me. So just for basic controls, we're flying around only with the left analog stick here. So left analog stick controlling all of our 3D movement. Try to take this dude out. The right analog stick is controlling our throttle, so if we throttle up, by holding the right analog stick up, then we'll go faster. If we throttle down by holding the right analog stick down, we'll go a little bit slower. We can also get a weird, like, temporary speed boost, which is what I'm doing right now, just by holding the... Ooh, that was close. By holding the analog stick in, you know, as if I was sprinting in Call of Duty or something like that. The aiming mode is accomplished with our left trigger here, or left bumper, and basically we're just shooting them down with right trigger. We also have missiles, and... That's our ship. We also have missiles and rockets. We might have to use bombs on this level, too. I can't quite remember. But... we will get to that a little bit later, because this is going to be like a two-pronged mission, I think. We start with this, and then we have to go, like, protect the base or something. Alright, so our mission now is basically to take out their bombers before they take out Vickers Complex. Here's the thing for me that kind of, I'm not going to say bothers necessarily, because that's not fair, but that irks me a little bit about games like this. It's like, is there really, or I find it inquisitive, let's put it, or I feel inquisitive about it, let's say. The red targets, by the way, are our bombers. And the blue, or the yellow targets are the fighters that are escorting them. So we're just going to try to take out the enemy bombers here. Sometimes you get this like slow-mo kill cam as if we were playing... What the heck is that game? That's Sniper Elite V2. It's kind of weird, and in Sniper Elite V2 it sort of made sense because it was cool to like see where your bullets entered and exited the enemy. But in this game, it's just like every single one looks exactly the same. I just fired a rocket at him there and totally missed, but that's okay. The rockets actually require a fair bit of skill to actually land. These bombers are not defenseless, by the way. They do have turrets at the bottom, so I am taking a little bit of damage. But anyway, the point I was trying to make a little bit earlier is there really a huge overlap between people who are really interested in, like, World War II history to the point where they would want to, like, buy a game, like, recreating some air battles from it, and the people who would buy that game with it being, like, super arcadey. I feel like if you're... And this might be an overgeneralization on my part, but I feel if you're like really into the Second World War and the history of the Second World War, what you do is you play simulators, right? Like you play like IL-2 Sturmovik or something like that, or, you know, I'm not going to make myself look like an idiot by coming up with a bunch of simulator names here, because I can't, but I know that there are dozens out there. Yeah, but you play something that maybe gives you a little bit less combat, but way, way, way more realism than this, which is basically just like, I don't understand how there was even a war in the first place, because I've already shot down, like, 19 ships or something like that, or 19 planes. I would prefer a little bit more realism in my game here. Now, I guess we've killed all the bombers, but we can still kill some of these fighters if we want to.
Good work, lads. The complex is safe. You can say that again. You really saved our hides back there.
All right, Peppy.
It's what we're here for. Let's head back to base.
Like, oh, I guess we don't even have to land. Sometimes you have to land. Let's exit back here and we'll check out another mission. I'm concerned I want to cut the video a little bit short because I don't want to have to hard reset my computer and lose all of the files that we have so far. But let's go to First Encounters at Midway, because this is another one. Again, we can take some different planes here. There's different planes for each mission. We can't actually take any different planes here. We're stuck with this one. This is like our second mission after the tutorial. But yes, usually, at least in some of the missions that I've played so far, and this might be one, you do have to take off and land. I think in this one we might have to land on an aircraft carrier, which is actually sort of neat. But again, the takeoff and landing scenarios, or the actual mechanisms themselves, are so simplistic. I'll let them talk. But anyway, yes, we will just take out that ship that was just going after us. Okay, and also, let's get this out of the way. I understand that this is a period piece, you know, set in the middle, the height of the Second World War. However, this game's liberal use of jabs I do find a little bit offensive. Like, oh god, I almost crashed there. I mean, I don't find it offensive in the sense that they shouldn't be saying that. I find it more offensive in the sense that I think they just are relying on that word to be like, this game's M for mature. Like, as soon as you watch the opening cutscene of the game, they drop that J-bomb like 30 times. You're like, oh, come on. Just like, you know, the ability to shock people, or like, let's put it this way. Accurate lingo for the times does not necessarily make for like an accurate representation of the times, nor does it make for an intriguing piece of dialogue. So yes, maybe the people were saying like, the worst one I've heard is like, do your ships run on rice also, Japs? And I'm like, okay, well that's really offensive. Did people possibly say that back in the Second World War? Maybe, but your game isn't focused on realism. I mean, look at this, I've already shot down like 7 planes, I've barely been touched, my health bar is still green. It's not like I'm the Red Baron or anything like that, I'm just, you know, basically holding right trigger here, and left trigger, of course, to get that crosshair. But you know, you pick one. Make your game entertaining and fun for all ages, or make it a grizzled, real recreation of what life might have been like back then for pilots like this. But as is, all the mechanisms are just simply too simplified. It's almost like the game can't figure out what it wants to be. Does it want to be arcade, or arcadey, I guess I should say, or does it want to be, you know, like a hard-boiled look at what life was like in the Second World War? I honestly don't know. So we just took that guy out quite easily. But I mean, for all the negative things I've said so far, and keep in mind the greatest negative I have about this game is the fact that it continually crashes my computer for some reason that I have no understanding of. I mean, it might not be a critical error for a lot of people. It might just be something with my video card, but still, I don't know. It's kind of unexcusable considering the game is, you know, available for purchase. But yeah, the gameplay itself is competent. It's no Crimson Skies High Road to Revenge, but it's not terrible. This isn't Revelations 2012. However, it isn't really all that fun. And considering it's going for $15 on Steam right now, I don't think this is what you want to buy. If you're into like airplane stuff, go all out, buy a simulator. Even if you don't have a even if you don't have like an actual flight stick, just go, you know, pick up a simulator, get it, feel it out. If you want an arcade shooter, Crimson Skies, man. I don't know if there's been a better arcade like airplane shooter since Crimson Skies, but I mean that just might be me dating myself and letting nostalgia get the better of me to a certain extent. What am I doing here? Has anyone come out with a combat mod for Microsoft Flight yet? The flight in that game was a little... I thought it was okay. In this game, it's a little bit floaty. I should mention, by the way, there are PC controls here. I'm just using the Xbox 360 controller because I cannot imagine just using like mouse and keyboard. I'd rather have double analog stick, but it doesn't really matter in this game, I feel, because your other analog stick is, weirdly enough, just used to control the throttle. Normally, like, maybe the left analog stick will control movement and your right analog stick will control pitch or something like that, or roll. But not so in this case. And it kind of, the game is worse off for it, I think, because it makes the flying sort of feel like you're just driving a car. Which is something that I mentioned as a positive of MS Flight back when that came out. But I'm not really as big of a fan of it here. It's just, I don't know, it feels a little bit floaty. Like, look at the easy maneuverability I have here. Again, for fans of who are looking for more of just a casual style arcade shooter, maybe that's something that they would enjoy. I don't particularly think that this game is easy to recommend, and more so, it's just repetitive. Like, you can see this, maybe you think I'm just, like, poorly representing the game by picking these missions that are the same thing over and over, but no, every mission that I played in the game so far, which is, you know, to be fair, only 5 or 6, has just been, like, find the targets, press left trigger near them to figure out where you need to shoot them, and then hold right trigger over that spot, or as close to that spot as you can, until they explode. Which makes for kind of a boring game after a while. I mean, I'm the kind of guy who's enamored with flight games. Like, it's still, I liked Microsoft Flight, even if I think its free-to-play model is absolute garbage. Especially, it's even worse now, I would say. They're charging, like, what, like $8 a plane or something like that? Anyway. Yeah, so it's very easy to get me to like a game that has airplanes in it. I still don't like Dogfight 1942. I think this is pretty bad. So again, every mission is just shoot down the red diamonds and make comments that are incredibly racially insensitive in 2012. And again, I don't want anyone to get me wrong here. I understand why these comments are in the game. I'm not saying like, oh, they shouldn't have said those words back then when it was life or death and they were worried, you know, that their whole families were going to die or they were going to die in a rice paddy somewhere in Okinawa. I'm just saying, you know, you can convey that in a way that doesn't feel cheap. It's the same way, like, I don't know, I like Bulletstorm, but it's the same way Bulletstorm kind of accomplished that, like, hey, we're badass, we're, like, super badass, but just having, like, constant made-up swear words. It's like, you can do better. I know you guys at Epic can do better than that.
out hitting the Japs. The Zeeks, they're escaping. Let them go, Command. I really need to land. Eagle Wing, change of orders. Do not return to Midway. Land on the Yorktown. The Yorktown? Well, squealing piglets.
Alright, so to end this, we're going to land on the aircraft carrier. I'm going to put my power glove on. And we are going to Top Gun the shit out of this. Here we go. By the way, this is super easy. It should not be difficult. I've failed missions due to improper landings before, but it actually... Are you still shooting at me? I'm trying to land, asshole. But yeah, it's really easy. You basically just guide yourself close, and as soon as your wheels touch down, you should be good. Anyway, that will be the end of our mission here. Shut up, Tom Burton. Is that really important? We'll go back to the main menu. 34 kills! Madness! But in any case, that is Dogfight 1942. I am amazed that my computer has not crashed during this recording. It really blows my mind. I cannot recommend it for several reasons. Local co-op, quick play. Quick play is just like adversarial. So if you have like two people next to each other, one on mouse and keyboard, one on a controller, they could like dogfight it out. Local co-op is, I guess, you know, again, two people local, because there's no online multiplayer in this for some reason. You know, next to each other and dogfighting in split screen, which I can't imagine would be anything but infuriating unless you had a sweet monitor setup. But in any case, that's all you got. That and leaderboards. Dogfight 1942, pretty difficult to recommend. You know, caveat emptor, buyer beware on this one, because it is borderline broken on my computer. And maybe borderline broken on yours as well. I can't say if it's a personal issue or if it's an actual issue with the game itself. But beyond that, there's no reason to risk it, because it's just really not all that good. Again, I think if you want to go to the more simmy side of things, there's a lot of stuff over there for like real aviation fanatics. If you're going for the more arcadey stuff, I can't really think of a recent arcadey airplane combat sim, but just go check out Crimson Skies, like High Road to Revenge. That's available, I think, on like Xbox Live Games on Demand, or, you know, Classics, whatever they're branding that as now. But, or just don't play this. that is my general sentiment here. Even if you don't play Crimson Skies, don't play Dogfight 1942. You probably have better things to do with your time. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.